The Great Pyramid of Giza, a structure so precise, so mathematically perfect, that it seems to mock our modern understanding of what ancient civilizations could accomplish. For nearly 5,000 years, it has dominated this landscape, silent and mysterious, keeping secrets that could change everything we think we know about our past. For generations, we've been told a simple story, a comfortable story. Pharaoh Khufu, ruler of ancient Egypt, around 25 and 50 BC, decided to build the ultimate tomb for himself. Thousands of workers, armed with nothing but primitive copper chisels, hemp ropes and wooden rollers, somehow managed to construct this colossal monument in just 20 years. It's a story of human determination, of ancient ingenuity, of what our ancestors could achieve through sheer willpower and backbreaking labour. But here's where our journey into the unknown begins. What if this comfortable story isn't just incomplete? What if it's deliberately misleading? What if the truth about who built the Great Pyramid is so extraordinary, so paradigm-shifting, that it's been carefully hidden from us for centuries? Tonight, you're not just another tourist snapping photos. You're here as a seeker of truth, drawn by questions that have haunted humanity for millennia. Who built this impossible monument? How did they achieve such precision with primitive tools? And perhaps most importantly, what if everything we've been told about the pyramid is wrong? The desert wind carries whispers of ancient mysteries. Some say, if you listen carefully on nights like this, you can hear the echoes of voices from a lost civilization, builders whose names have been forgotten by time, but whose greatest achievement stands eternal against the stars. Tonight we're going deeper than most documentaries dare. We'll explore sealed chambers that authorities refuse to open, impossible precision that defies ancient capabilities, and evidence of vanished civilizations that possess knowledge we're only beginning to rediscover. This isn't just about stones and sand, it's about rewriting human history itself. So get comfortable, dim the lights, and let's journey into one of history's greatest mysteries. Some secrets are worth losing sleep over. Let's begin with what stands before us. The Great Pyramid isn't just big, it's impossibly, overwhelmingly massive in a way that photographs can never capture. When you stand at its base, looking up at the smooth limestone blocks towering above you, you begin to understand why ancient people believed it was built by gods. 2.3 million stone blocks, each one precisely cut, perfectly fitted, seamlessly joined. Some of these blocks weigh as much as 80 tons. Imagine 40 cars stacked on top of each other, carved from solid stone. The entire structure rises 481 feet into the desert sky, taller than the Statue of Liberty, more massive than most modern skyscrapers. But size alone doesn't explain the mystery. It's the precision that astounds modern engineers. The pyramid's base is level to within just 2.1 centimeters. To put that in perspective, if you scaled the pyramid down to the size of a coffee table, the surface would be smooth to within the thickness of a human hair. This is where our first problem begins. The ancient Egyptians documented everything. They carved records of births, deaths, harvests, festivals, military campaigns, and the tiniest details of daily life into stone for eternity. They were obsessed with preserving their achievements for the afterlife. Yet strangely, no contemporary records of the pyramid's construction exist. Think about that for a moment. The greatest architectural achievement in human history, a project that would have required the entire resources of a kingdom, and nothing. No inscriptions inside the pyramid mentioning Khufu, no hieroglyphic accounts of this massive undertaking, no documentation of the engineering processes or the workforce involved. It's as if the pyramid simply appeared one day, already ancient, already mysterious. And then there's the problem of the empty tomb. Walk through any Egyptian royal tomb and you'll find elaborate paintings covering every surface, precious grave goods, religious texts guiding the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. The walls tell stories, The artifacts speak of power and divine kingship. The Great Pyramid contains nothing. No mummy, no treasures, no decorative inscriptions, just empty stone chambers echoing with silence. 3 rooms connected by narrow passages, all as barren as the day they were carved. If this was meant to be Khufu's eternal resting place, why is it so completely devoid of everything that made Egyptian tombs sacred? But perhaps the most troubling aspect of the pyramid is its mathematical precision. The structure is aligned to true north with an accuracy of 3/60ths of a degree. The base perimeter is accurate to within 2.3 centimeters, despite being built on uneven terrain. The pyramid incorporates mathematical constants, like pi and phi, that weren't supposed to be known to ancient civilizations. The builders somehow managed to create a perfectly level foundation, despite the natural variations in the bedrock. They oriented the structure to cardinal directions with precision that rivals modern surveying equipment. They embedded complex mathematical relationships throughout the design that suggest knowledge of advanced geometry, astronomy, and physics. How could ancient builders achieve such perfection? The official story tells us they used copper chisels, wooden levers, and rope. But copper is soft metal that becomes dull after minutes of use on limestone. Wooden tools would splinter under the weight of 80-ton blocks. Rope would snap under such massive loads. Modern attempts to replicate these achievements using Copper Age technology have failed dramatically. Engineers with modern knowledge, working with teams of skilled craftsmen, cannot duplicate the precision found in every corner of the pyramid. We can't even move the massive granite blocks from the quarries using methods available to ancient Egyptians. So we're left with a fundamental question. If the pyramid was built by Pharaoh Khufu's workers using primitive tools, why can't we, with all our modern knowledge and technology, figure out how they did it? The pyramid stands as a silent challenge to our understanding of the past. Every precisely cut stone, every perfect angle, every mathematical relationship embedded in its design whispers the same question. Who really built this monument? And what did they know that we've forgotten? To understand why the pyramid's secrets remain hidden, we must talk about the man who controlled access to Egypt's greatest treasures for over 3 decades. Dr. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's most powerful archaeologist, a man who styled himself as the guardian of ancient mysteries. Charismatic, media-savvy, and absolutely ruthless in protecting his authority, Hawass became the face of Egyptian archaeology. With his Indiana Jones hat and dramatic flair, he charmed television audiences worldwide. But behind the cameras, a different story emerged, one of blocked research, suppressed discoveries, and scientific investigation mysteriously halted whenever it threatened established narratives. The pattern was always the same. Independent researchers would apply for permits to explore promising sites or test new theories. Initial approval would be granted, excitement would build, and then silence. Applications would be denied without explanation. Promising excavations would be mysteriously halted. Alternative theories would be dismissed without proper investigation. Why such resistance to new discoveries? Why prevent scientific exploration of humanity's greatest mysteries? The most infamous example occurred in 1993 when German engineer Rudolf Gantenbrink sent a small robot up the narrow shaft in the Queen's chamber. The little machine, no bigger than a shoebox, climbed the ancient passage that no human had ever explored. At the end of the shaft, it made a startling discovery, a sealed limestone door with copper handles. The world held its breath. What lay behind that door? What had been sealed away for over 4,000 years? The discovery promised to revolutionize our understanding of the pyramid's purpose and construction. But Dr. Hawass suddenly halted the investigation without explanation. The door, discovered with such fanfare, was left unexplored. For years, researchers begged for permission to continue the investigation. Each request was denied. Finally, in 2002, under enormous international pressure, Hawass allowed a heavily controlled exploration. National Geographic was permitted to drill a tiny hole through the door while cameras rolled. The world watched as a fiber optic camera was inserted through the hole, revealing another door behind the first. That second door also remains unexplored to this day. What could be so sensitive that it must remain hidden? What discovery could be so dangerous that it requires nearly 30 years of suppression? The official explanations never quite made sense. Protecting the monument's integrity, they said, preventing damage to ancient structures. But drilling a small hole for a camera causes no damage, and the sealed chambers have remained undisturbed for millennia. Critics suggested other motives, perhaps protecting Egypt's tourism industry, which depends on comfortable, familiar narratives about pharaohs and ancient glory. Perhaps maintaining academic reputations and careers built on established chronologies. Perhaps preserving the simple story that tourists expect and pay to hear. Or perhaps protecting something far more significant. What if the truth behind those sealed doors could rewrite human history? What if the evidence inside those chambers proves that the pyramid is far older than claimed, built by a civilization we've forgotten, using technology we don't understand? The pattern of suppression extends beyond the pyramid itself. Throughout Egypt, promising excavations are halted, important discoveries are classified, and international researchers are denied access to crucial sites. The impression grows that certain information is being deliberately withheld from public knowledge. But why? What truth could be so powerful that it requires such elaborate protection? Perhaps we're about to find out. Dr. Hawass is no longer in control of Egypt's archaeological sites. New technologies are revealing hidden chambers and passages that can't be easily suppressed. The younger generation of researchers is less interested in protecting comfortable narratives than in discovering the truth. The gatekeepers of ancient secrets are losing their grip on the keys. In 2017, something extraordinary happened that changed everything we thought we knew about the Great Pyramid. An international team of scientists used a revolutionary technique called muon radiography to peer inside the ancient structure without disturbing a single stone. Muons are cosmic rays that constantly bombard Earth from space. They can penetrate solid rock, but they're absorbed at different rates depending on the density of material they pass through. By detecting these cosmic rays as they pass through the pyramid, scientists can create detailed images of internal structures, like taking an X-ray of the entire monument. What they discovered defied all expectations. Hidden above the Grand Gallery, completely sealed and invisible from the outside, was a massive void. Not a small chamber or passage, but a space that rivals the size of all the pyramid's known rooms combined. This chamber has no visible entrance, no known purpose. It's been perfectly preserved for thousands of years, untouched by human hands since the pyramid's construction. The void is larger than many ancient temples, bigger than most modern houses, a vast space waiting in darkness above the Grand Gallery. But here's where the mystery deepens. Despite this momentous discovery, despite the obvious importance of exploring this chamber, authorities have shown no interest in investigating further. The void was announced, documented, and then forgotten. Why? What could be inside that chamber that makes it too dangerous to explore? What artifacts, what technology, what knowledge might be waiting in that sealed space? The void is not the only mystery hidden within the pyramid's stone walls. The entire structure is honeycombed with narrow passages that the ancients called air shafts. But these passages don't carry air. Many lead to sealed chambers or dead ends. Some align with specific stars and constellations, suggesting sophisticated astronomical knowledge. The southern shaft from the king's chamber points directly at Orion's belt, the constellation the ancient Egyptians associated with Osiris, god of death and rebirth. The northern shaft aligns with the circumpolar stars that never set, symbols of eternal life. These aren't random alignments. They're precise astronomical calculations embedded in stone. Beneath the pyramid, carved from the solid bedrock itself, lies the most mysterious chamber of all, the subterranean chamber, accessed by a descending passage that plunges into the earth. The chamber appears unfinished, but the cutting is precisely executed. A mysterious pit in the floor leads to additional passages that disappear into the darkness. What was this chamber's purpose? Why was it carved from solid rock beneath the pyramid? And why does it appear to be connected to a complex network of passages that map the underworld itself? But perhaps the most intriguing discovery is the pyramid's acoustic properties. The chambers demonstrate remarkable acoustic engineering. Specific frequencies resonate within the structures, creating standing waves that seem to have been designed intentionally. Sound waves behave in unusual ways inside the pyramid, amplified and focused in patterns that suggest sophisticated understanding of acoustics. Could the pyramid have been designed as more than a tomb? Could it have been a machine of some kind, using sound and vibration for purposes we don't understand? The acoustic properties alone suggest a level of engineering sophistication that rivals modern concert halls. And then there are the discoveries that have never been officially announced. Rumours persist of artifacts found in sealed chambers, objects removed without public disclosure, rooms explored privately by select individuals. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed additional voids and passages throughout the pyramid complex, but their contents remain unknown. What has been found but never revealed? What artifacts might be gathering dust in museum storage rooms, too significant to display, too dangerous to study openly? The pyramid keeps its secrets, but technology is beginning to unlock doors that have been sealed for millennia. Each new discovery raises more questions than it answers. Each hidden chamber suggests that the pyramid is far more complex, far more sophisticated, and far more mysterious than we've ever imagined. The chambers that time forgot are beginning to whisper their secrets. Are we ready to listen? Let's talk about something that should be impossible, something that challenges everything we think we know about ancient capabilities. The precision of the Great Pyramid's construction isn't just impressive, it's impossible given the tools and techniques supposedly available to ancient builders. Christopher Dunn, a master craftsman and engineer, spent decades studying the pyramid stonework with the trained eye of someone who works with precision machinery every day. What he discovered changed his understanding of ancient capabilities forever. The granite blocks in the king's chamber show evidence of advanced machining, perfectly round drill holes that penetrate deep into the stone, precise cuts that leave tool marks consistent with diamond-tipped equipment, surfaces polished to mirror smoothness that would challenge modern manufacturers. But ancient Egyptians supposedly only had copper tools. Copper is soft, malleable, useful for jewellery and decorative work. It becomes dull after minutes of use on limestone and is completely useless against granite. Yet the pyramid contains massive granite blocks that show evidence of precision cutting that would require industrial-grade equipment. The granite sarcophagus in the king's chamber is perhaps the most puzzling artifact of all. This massive stone box was carved from a single block of granite to incredible precision. The corners are perfectly square, the sides precisely parallel, the interior surfaces smooth as glass. Tool marks inside the sarcophagus suggest it was carved using some kind of rotating cutting equipment. But here's the problem. The sarcophagus is wider than the passage leading to the king's chamber. It could not have been brought into the chamber after the pyramid was built. It must have been placed there during construction, which means the entire pyramid was built around this precisely carved stone box. Why? What was so important about this granite container that the entire pyramid was designed to accommodate it? And it's not just the sarcophagus. Throughout Egyptian sites, archaeologists have found mysterious granite boxes, precisely carved with perfectly smooth interior surfaces. Some show evidence of ultrasonic drilling, a technique that uses high-frequency vibrations to cut through stone. The precision of these artifacts exceeds modern manufacturing capabilities. What were these mysterious containers for? Why were they carved with such extraordinary precision? And how did ancient craftsmen achieve tolerances that would challenge modern machinists? Then there's the lighting problem. The pyramid's interior is completely dark. The complex network of passages and chambers would have required constant illumination for workers to see what they were doing. Yet there's no evidence of torch soot on the ceilings, no oil lamp residue on the walls, no signs of smoke damage anywhere in the structure. How did workers see in absolute darkness? Did they have some form of advanced lighting technology? The precision of the interior work suggests that craftsmen could see perfectly while they worked, but how? The transportation problem is equally baffling. The pyramid contains granite blocks that weigh up to 80 tons, quarried from Aswan, 500 miles away. These massive stones had to be cut, moved, loaded onto barges, transported down the Nile, unloaded, and precisely positioned within the pyramid structure. There's no evidence of wheels capable of bearing such loads, no pulleys strong enough to lift 80-ton blocks, no ramps steep enough to reach the pyramid's upper levels. Modern equipment would struggle to move these stones using today's technology. How did ancient builders accomplish what we can barely do with cranes and hydraulic lifts? The official explanation involves thousands of workers, wooden levers, and copper tools, but the mathematics don't work. The logistics don't work. The technology doesn't work. Every aspect of the pyramid's construction seems to require capabilities that ancient civilizations supposedly didn't possess. Christopher Dunn's analysis suggests a troubling conclusion. The pyramid shows evidence of advanced technology that rivals or exceeds modern capabilities. The precision of the stonework, the sophistication of the engineering, the complexity of the construction, all point to knowledge and tools that shouldn't have existed 5,000 years ago. But if ancient Egyptians didn't have this technology, who did? Where did this knowledge come from? And why has evidence of advanced ancient technology been so consistently overlooked or dismissed by mainstream archaeology? The pyramid stands as a monument to impossible precision, a testament to knowledge that challenges our understanding of human development. Each precisely cut stone, each perfect angle, each mathematical relationship embedded in its design suggests that our ancestors were far more advanced than we've ever imagined. Or perhaps they had help. Just a few hundred yards from the Great Pyramid, carved from the living rock of the Giza plateau, sits one of the world's most enigmatic monuments. The Great Sphinx, with its human head and lion's body, has gazed eastward toward the rising sun for thousands of years. But what if the Sphinx is trying to tell us something about the pyramid that we've refused to hear? In the 1980s, an independent researcher named John Anthony West noticed something that mainstream Egyptologists had ignored for decades. The Sphinx showed clear signs of water erosion, not the wind and sand erosion you'd expect in a desert, but the deep flowing erosion patterns caused by heavy rainfall and running water. West brought geologist Robert Schoch to examine the evidence. Schoch, a professor at Boston University, applied rigorous geological analysis to the Sphinx's weathering patterns. His conclusion was startling. The erosion patterns were consistent with prolonged exposure to heavy rainfall, not the arid conditions that have existed in Egypt for the past 5,000 years. But here's the problem. The Sahara Desert last experienced heavy rainfall during the African humid period, which ended around 12,000 years ago. At the end of the last ice age, North Africa was green and lush with lakes, rivers, and torrential seasonal rains. The kind of rainfall that could carve deep erosion patterns into limestone. If the Sphinx shows evidence of water erosion, it could be twice as old as Egyptologists claim. Instead of being carved around 2500 BC during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, the Sphinx might date to the end of the last ice age, when the Giza plateau was a green savanna watered by seasonal rains. The implications are staggering. If the Sphinx is 12,000 years old, it predates the rise of Egyptian civilization by 7,000 years. It would mean that advanced stone carving techniques existed long before the pharaohs, during a time when mainstream archaeology tells us humans were still hunter-gatherers, living in small tribal groups. Geologists who have examined the evidence support the water erosion theory. The weathering patterns are unmistakable, they say. The scientific evidence is clear. But Egyptologists have provided few convincing counter-arguments, relying instead on circular reasoning. The Sphinx can't be older than Egyptian civilization, because Egyptian civilization is when advanced stone carving began. But what if the truth is more complex? What if Pharaoh Khufu didn't build the Sphinx at all? What if he only restored an existing monument, an ancient structure that had already been weathered by millennia of rainfall? Archaeological evidence suggests that the Sphinx has been repaired and restored many times throughout history. Perhaps the face was recarved to match later pharaohs, the body reshaped to fit contemporary artistic styles. The Sphinx might be a survivor from a lost world, a monument carved by a forgotten civilization that possessed advanced knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering. A civilization that built in stone to last for eternity, knowing that cataclysm would come. The astronomical alignment of the Sphinx supports this theory. The monument faces due east toward the rising sun, but more specifically, it aligns with the constellation Leo during the spring equinox, around 10,500 BC. This isn't coincidence, it's a deliberate marker in time, a stone calendar pointing to the age when the Sphinx looked up at its celestial counterpart in the pre-dawn sky. The ancient Egyptians called this alignment Zep Tepi, the first time when the gods walked among men. Perhaps this wasn't mythology but memory, encoded in stone and star maps, preserved through millennia of oral tradition until it became the foundation myths of Egyptian civilization. The Sphinx may have served as an ancient observatory, its position carefully calculated to mark celestial events with mathematical precision. The sophisticated understanding of astronomy required for such alignments suggests knowledge that predates known Egyptian civilization by thousands of years. But if the Sphinx is 12,000 years old, it raises profound questions about the Great Pyramid itself. The two monuments are clearly related, built on the same plateau, aligned with the same astronomical principles, constructed using similar precision techniques. If one is far older than claimed, what about the other? Could the Great Pyramid also be a restoration project? An ancient structure renovated and repurposed by later pharaohs who found it already standing on the Giza plateau? The empty chambers, the lack of contemporary records, the impossible precision. Suddenly these mysteries make sense if the pyramid predates Egyptian civilization itself. The resistance to the water erosion theory from mainstream Egyptology is fierce and emotional, suggesting that more than academic reputation is at stake. If the Sphinx is 12,000 years old, it rewrites human history. It suggests that advanced civilizations existed during the last ice age, that sophisticated knowledge was preserved through global catastrophe, and that our ancestors were far more capable than we've ever imagined. The Sphinx speaks of older times, times when the world was green and the knowledge of the ancients was fresh and new. Its weathered face has watched the rise and fall of civilizations, the coming and going of ice ages, the slow drift of continents, and the gradual shift of stars in the sky. What secrets does the Sphinx remember? What knowledge was carved into its stone heart by builders whose names have been lost to time? As you contemplate its ancient gaze, remember that some monuments are not just art, they're messages from the distant past waiting for humanity to develop the wisdom to understand them. In the 1990s, a construction engineer named Robert Bouval made a discovery that would revolutionize our understanding of the Giza complex. While studying the layout of the three pyramids, he noticed something extraordinary. The positioning of the monuments precisely mirrored the pattern of stars in Orion's belt. But here's where the discovery becomes truly mysterious. The pyramids don't match Orion's belt as it appeared in 2500 BC, when the monuments were supposedly built. Instead, they align perfectly with the constellation's configuration from 10,500 BC, over 8,000 years earlier. This isn't a minor discrepancy. It's a fundamental challenge to everything we've been told about the pyramid's construction date. Why would ancient builders align their monuments with stars as they appeared thousands of years before their own time? Orion held deep spiritual significance for the ancient Egyptians. They saw it as the celestial form of Osiris, the god of death and rebirth, the ruler of the underworld. The pyramids were positioned to match this stellar pattern, creating a mirror image of heaven on earth. But the precision of this alignment suggests knowledge that goes far beyond simple stargazing. To understand the true sophistication of this alignment, we need to explore one of astronomy's most complex phenomena, precession. Earth's axis wobbles slowly over a 26,000-year cycle, changing the apparent position of stars in the sky. It's like a spinning top that wobbles as it slows down, except Earth's wobble takes millennia to complete. Ancient builders would need to understand precession to create the Orion correlation. They would need to know how the stars moved over thousands of years, how to calculate their positions in the distant past, and how to encode this knowledge in stone. This requires mathematical understanding that supposedly didn't exist until modern times. Who possessed such advanced astronomical knowledge? How did they calculate the precise positions of stars thousands of years in the past? And why was this ancient stellar alignment so important that it was preserved in the largest construction project in human history? The astronomical sophistication doesn't end with the pyramid layout. The narrow shafts inside the Great Pyramid point to specific stars with remarkable precision. The northern shafts from both the King's and Queen's chambers target circumpolar stars, stars that never set below the horizon, symbols of eternal life in Egyptian mythology. The southern shafts align with Orion and Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. Sirius was especially important to ancient Egyptians. Its annual rising marked the beginning of the Nile flood, the life-giving event that made Egyptian civilization possible. The precision of these alignments suggests that the pyramid was designed as a cosmic map, a three-dimensional representation of the heavens built in stone. But the most intriguing evidence comes from the Dendera zodiac, an ancient Egyptian star chart that demonstrates sophisticated astronomical knowledge. The circular stone carving depicts the precession of the equinoxes and shows stellar movements spanning thousands of years. How did ancient Egyptians know about precession? How did they calculate stellar positions across such vast periods of time? The Giza complex begins to look less like a collection of tombs and more like an ancient astronomical computer. The pyramids track stellar movements, the Sphinx marks celestial alignments, and the entire plateau is oriented to cardinal directions with precision that rivals modern surveying equipment. Multiple structures align with celestial events, solstices, equinoxes, and the rising of significant stars. The pyramid causeway points to specific astronomical phenomena, creating sightlines that connect Earth to sky. The Sphinx watches the eternal sunrise, its gaze marking the celestial equator where Earth meets the heavens. Was Giza designed as an ancient observatory, a massive stone computer for tracking celestial movements and predicting astronomical events? The precision of the alignments suggests that the builders possessed knowledge that we're only beginning to rediscover. The star maps of Giza tell a story written in stone and starlight, They speak of builders who understood the deep rhythms of the cosmos, who could read the movements of heaven and translate them into monuments that would endure for millennia. They suggest that our ancestors were not primitive peoples stumbling in the dark, but sophisticated astronomers who saw the universe as a vast, interconnected system. But the most profound implication of the Orion correlation is what it suggests about time itself. If the pyramids align with stars as they appeared 8,000 years before their supposed construction, they point to a much older civilization, one that understood the precession of the equinoxes and could calculate stellar positions across vast periods of time. The star maps of Giza whisper of ancient wisdom preserved in stone, of knowledge that transcends the rise and fall of civilizations. They suggest that the builders of the pyramids were not just constructing tombs, but creating eternal monuments to human understanding of the cosmos itself. As you drift off to sleep tonight, imagine looking up at the stars from the Giza plateau. See Orion's belt hanging in the southern sky, its 3 stars perfectly mirrored by the 3 pyramids below. Feel the connection between earth and heaven, between ancient wisdom and eternal mystery. The star maps of Giza are still there, waiting for humanity to remember what we once knew about our place in the universe. What if everything we've been told about human history is wrong? What if the sophisticated knowledge required to build the pyramids didn't develop gradually over thousands of years, but was inherited from a much older, more advanced civilization that was destroyed by catastrophe? This is the revolutionary theory proposed by researcher Graham Hancock. According to Hancock, an advanced global civilization existed before known history, possessing sophisticated knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering. Around 12,000 years ago, this civilization was destroyed by a catastrophic event, possibly asteroid impacts or massive climate change. The survivors, scattered across the globe, passed fragments of their knowledge to later cultures, explaining the sudden appearance of sophisticated civilizations like ancient Egypt. The evidence for this theory is mounting. In southeastern Turkey, archaeologists have uncovered Göbekli Tepe, a massive temple complex that dates to 12,000 years ago. The site consists of enormous stone pillars arranged in circles, each pillar intricately carved with animals, symbols, and astronomical alignments. But here's what makes Göbekli Tepe so revolutionary. It was built by people who are supposedly still hunter-gatherers, living in small nomadic groups without agriculture, written language, or complex social organization. Yet somehow, these primitive people quarried, carved, and precisely positioned stones weighing up to 16 tons, creating astronomical alignments that demonstrate sophisticated knowledge of celestial mechanics. The official story doesn't make sense. How does a hunter-gatherer society suddenly develop the organizational skills to coordinate a massive construction project? Where did the advanced stone carving techniques come from? How did they acquire the astronomical knowledge needed to align the pillars with specific stars and constellations? Unless they inherited this knowledge from an earlier civilization. The timing is crucial. Göbekli Tepe was built around 11,600 years ago, right at the end of the Younger Dryas period, a time of catastrophic climate change that marked the end of the last ice age. Global temperatures plummeted, ice sheets advanced, and many large animal species went extinct. It was a time of worldwide upheaval that could have destroyed an advanced civilization. The Younger Dryas event was sudden and devastating. Evidence suggests it may have been caused by multiple asteroid or comet impacts that triggered massive climate change. The impacts would have caused global wildfires, blocked sunlight with dust and debris, and plunged the world into a nuclear winter-like scenario. Such a catastrophe could have wiped out an advanced civilization, leaving only scattered survivors who preserved fragments of ancient knowledge. These knowledge keepers would have passed down crucial information through oral traditions, eventually influencing the development of later civilizations. This would explain the sudden appearance of sophisticated civilizations like ancient Egypt. Instead of gradually developing advanced techniques over thousands of years, the early Egyptians inherited mathematical, astronomical, and architectural knowledge from much older traditions. The precision of the pyramids, the sophistication of Egyptian astronomy, the advanced engineering techniques, all could be remnants of pre-catastrophe knowledge. The theory gained support from similar megalithic sites worldwide. Sacsayhuaman in Peru features massive stone blocks fitted together with precision that rivals modern construction. The joints between stones are so tight that you can't slip a knife blade between them. Some blocks weigh over 100 tons and show evidence of advanced cutting techniques. Baalbek in Lebanon contains some of the largest worked stone blocks in the world. The stone of the pregnant woman weighs an estimated 1,000 tons. That's 2 million pounds of solid limestone, precisely cut and shaped. Modern cranes can't lift such massive weights, yet somehow ancient builders quarried, moved, and positioned these enormous stones with perfect precision. The similarities between these sites suggest a common source of knowledge. Similar construction techniques, shared astronomical alignments, and comparable levels of precision point to a global civilization that possessed advanced engineering capabilities. The geographic distribution of these sites, from Turkey to Peru to Lebanon, suggests that this knowledge was spread across continents. But what kind of technology did this lost civilization possess? The precision of the stonework suggests knowledge of advanced cutting techniques, possibly using sound waves or other forms of energy to shape stone. The massive scale of the constructions indicates understanding of physics and engineering that rivals modern capabilities. The astronomical alignments demonstrate sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics, including the precession of the equinoxes and the complex movements of stars and planets. This knowledge was then encoded in stone monuments designed to last for millennia, ensuring that crucial information would survive even global catastrophe. The lost civilization theory explains many mysteries that mainstream archaeology cannot address. How did ancient peoples suddenly develop advanced capabilities? Why do megalithic sites worldwide show similar construction techniques? How did early civilizations acquire sophisticated astronomical knowledge? If the theory is correct, we are not the first advanced civilization on Earth. We are rediscovering knowledge that was once common, rebuilding understanding that was lost to catastrophe. The pyramids, the Sphinx, and other ancient monuments are not just archaeological curiosities. They are messages from our forgotten past, reminders of what humanity once achieved, and warnings of what we could lose. The implications are staggering. If advanced civilizations have risen and fallen before, what does that mean for our own future? What knowledge have we lost that could revolutionize our understanding of physics, engineering, and our place in the universe? The lost civilization theory suggests that human potential is far greater than we've imagined. Our ancestors were not primitive peoples struggling with basic survival, but sophisticated builders who understood the deep principles of science and mathematics. They created monuments that have lasted for millennia, encoding knowledge in stone that we're only beginning to decode. As you contemplate this possibility, remember that every great civilization believes itself to be the pinnacle of human achievement. The Romans thought they were the most advanced people in history. The Victorians believed they represented the height of human progress. We assume that our technology represents the ultimate development of human capability. But what if we're wrong? What if the pyramids, the Sphinx, and other ancient monuments are evidence of knowledge that exceeds our current understanding? What if our ancestors achieved things we can barely imagine, using principles of science and engineering that we've forgotten? The lost civilization theory challenges us to think beyond conventional timelines and comfortable assumptions. It suggests that human history is far more complex and mysterious than we've been told. The truth may be stranger and more wonderful than we've ever dared to imagine. What if the greatest archaeological discoveries of our time have been hidden from public view? What if crucial evidence about the pyramid's true age and purpose has been deliberately suppressed by institutions that control access to ancient sites? The pattern is consistent and troubling. Independent researchers apply for permits to explore promising sites or test revolutionary theories. Initial approvals are granted, equipment is prepared, and international attention focuses on the upcoming discoveries. Then, suddenly and without explanation, the investigations are halted. Permits are revoked, access is denied, and the research is buried in bureaucratic red tape. Rumours persist of secret excavations conducted away from public scrutiny. Private explorations funded by wealthy collectors or government agencies, important artifacts discovered but never announced, sealed chambers explored by select individuals who sign non-disclosure agreements. What has been found in these clandestine investigations? What discoveries are deemed too sensitive for public knowledge? The Egyptian authorities maintain strict control over archaeological sites, restricting access to certain areas and classifying important discoveries. International researchers are routinely denied permits to explore crucial sites, while promising investigations are terminated without explanation. The question is, why such secrecy around monuments that supposedly hold no secrets? One explanation is economics. Egypt's economy depends heavily on tourism, and the tourism industry depends on familiar, comfortable narratives about pharaohs and ancient glory. Radical discoveries that challenge established timelines could disrupt these narratives, confusing visitors who expect the simple story of pyramid-building pharaohs. If the pyramids are revealed to be far older than claimed, built by a forgotten civilization using advanced technology, it changes everything. Tourism operators, museum curators, and tour guides would need to rewrite their presentations. The comfortable story of gradual human progress would be replaced by complex theories of lost knowledge and ancient catastrophes. But economic considerations may be the least of the concerns. Academic politics play a crucial role in suppressing challenging evidence. Entire careers have been built on conventional chronologies and established theories. Professors have spent decades writing papers, teaching students, and building reputations based on specific interpretations of ancient history. When revolutionary discoveries threaten these established narratives, the academic response is often defensive rather than scientific. Peer review systems resist radical ideas. Funding is denied for controversial research, and careers are destroyed for challenging orthodoxy. The result is a systematic suppression of evidence that doesn't fit comfortable theories. National pride adds another layer of complexity. Egypt's modern identity is intimately connected to its pharaonic heritage. The pyramids are symbols of national achievement, proof of ancient Egyptian greatness. Acknowledging that these monuments might have been built by an earlier non-Egyptian civilization threatens this cultural narrative. Political pressure from various sources encourages maintaining traditional stories rather than pursuing uncomfortable truths. Government officials worry about the impact of revolutionary discoveries on national identity and international relations. Cultural identity becomes more important than historical accuracy. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the suppression is what it suggests about the nature of the hidden evidence. If the discoveries were merely interesting archaeological curiosities, why would they require such elaborate concealment? The level of secrecy suggests that the suppressed evidence is fundamentally threatening to established worldviews. What if the hidden chambers contain technology that challenges our understanding of ancient capabilities? What if the sealed rooms hold artifacts that prove the existence of advanced prehistorical civilizations? What if the suppressed evidence reveals knowledge that could revolutionize our understanding of physics, engineering, or human potential. The implications go beyond archaeology. Advanced ancient technology could challenge modern assumptions about human development and capability. It might reveal suppressed principles of science that could transform our current understanding of energy, construction, and the nature of reality itself. The cost of this secrecy is enormous. Potential technological advances are lost to bureaucratic suppression. Historical understanding is deliberately limited to protect comfortable narratives. Human heritage is kept hidden from the very people who created it. We are denied access to our own past, prevented from learning from our ancestors' achievements. But the truth has a way of emerging despite attempts at suppression. New technologies are revealing hidden chambers that can't be easily concealed. Independent researchers are finding ways to bypass traditional gatekeepers. The younger generation of archaeologists is less interested in protecting established narratives than in discovering the truth. Brave truth seekers continue to challenge the suppression. Independent researchers risk their careers to pursue controversial theories. Scientists apply modern analytical techniques to ancient mysteries, despite official discouragement. Engineers bring fresh perspectives to archaeological problems, unencumbered by traditional assumptions. These modern truth seekers are the intellectual descendants of all the independent researchers who have challenged orthodox interpretations throughout history. They represent the scientific spirit that values discovery over comfort, truth over convenience, and progress over tradition. The future of discovery may belong to these independent investigators. As technology advances and public interest in alternative theories grows, the old gatekeepers are losing their ability to control information. Satellite imagery reveals hidden structures, ground-penetrating radar uncovers sealed chambers, and computer analysis detects patterns that human eyes miss. The suppressed evidence of the pyramids represents more than archaeological curiosity. It represents the human right to know our own history. The monuments belong to all humanity, not to institutions or governments that claim authority over ancient sites. The knowledge they contain is part of our collective heritage, and we have a right to understand what our ancestors achieved. What discoveries await us when the suppression finally ends? What technological advances could we achieve if we understood the principles behind ancient precision? What knowledge could we gain if we were allowed to explore the sealed chambers and hidden passages that honeycombed the pyramid complex? The suppressed evidence suggests that we are living in the shadow of a far greater civilization than we've imagined. The pyramids may be reminders of human potential that we've forgotten, achievements that we've barely begun to understand. The truth may be more extraordinary and more revolutionary than any fiction. As you contemplate these possibilities, remember that every great advance in human knowledge has come from individuals who refuse to accept official explanations and comfortable assumptions. The suppressed evidence of the pyramids awaits the next generation of truth seekers, the brave souls who will demand access to humanity's hidden heritage. What if the Great Pyramid was never intended as a tomb? What if this massive structure, with its precise geometry and sophisticated engineering, was designed to be something far more extraordinary, an ancient machine of unimaginable purpose and power? This revolutionary theory comes from Christopher Dunn, a master machinist and engineer who has spent decades studying the pyramid's construction with the trained eye of someone who understands precision manufacturing. His conclusion is startling. The Great Pyramid shows evidence of being designed as an ancient power plant, a sophisticated machine for generating energy. The theory begins with the pyramid's remarkable acoustic properties. When you speak inside the king's chamber, your voice resonates at specific frequencies that seem to have been deliberately designed into the structure. The chamber acts like a resonating cavity, amplifying certain sound waves while dampening others. This isn't accidental, it's acoustic engineering of the highest order. The granite from which the king's chamber is constructed contains high levels of quartz crystal. When subjected to pressure or vibration, quartz exhibits piezoelectric properties. It generates electrical current. Could the pyramid's acoustic resonance have been designed to create vibrations that would cause the quartz-rich granite to generate electricity? The theory suggests that the pyramid was a massive resonating chamber designed to amplify specific frequencies that would cause the entire structure to vibrate in harmony. These vibrations would create piezoelectric effects in the granite components, generating electrical current that could be harvested and used for unknown purposes. But what would provide the initial energy to start this process? Dunn's research suggests that the pyramid's internal chambers show evidence of chemical reactions. Traces of unusual chemical deposits have been found in various chambers, possible remnants of an energy generation process that operated thousands of years ago. The narrow shafts that honeycomb the pyramid begin to make sense as infrastructure for an energy generation system. Rather than air shafts for ventilation, these passages could have been designed to carry energy throughout the structure. Their precise alignments with specific stars might have been intended to harness cosmic energy or electromagnetic radiation from space. The missing capstone, the pyramidion that should have topped the structure, may have been a crucial component in this energy generation system. Rather than a simple decorative element, the capstone might have been designed to focus or transmit the energy generated within the pyramid. Its absence could explain why the machine no longer functions. The precision of the pyramid's construction begins to make sense when viewed as engineering rather than architecture. The mathematical constants embedded in the design, the perfect alignment to cardinal directions, the sophisticated acoustic properties all suggest a structure designed for function rather than beauty. The so-called sarcophagus in the king's chamber might not have been a tomb at all, but a resonating chamber designed to amplify specific frequencies. Its precise dimensions and acoustic properties suggest it was engineered to create standing waves that would resonate throughout the entire structure. The granite's piezoelectric properties would convert these vibrations into electrical energy. But what was this energy used for? The pyramid's location on the Giza plateau might provide a clue. The site sits on a natural limestone aquifer, and underground water channels run beneath the structure. Some researchers suggest that the pyramid might have been designed to split water molecules using electrical energy, producing hydrogen gas as a fuel source. The chemical evidence supports this theory. Traces of hydrogen compounds have been found in the pyramid's chambers, along with other chemical deposits that suggest complex reactions once took place within the structure. The pyramid might have been an ancient hydrogen generation plant, producing clean fuel thousands of years before modern chemistry understood such processes. The implications are staggering. If the pyramid was indeed an energy generation machine, it demonstrates that ancient civilizations possessed technological knowledge that we're only beginning to rediscover. The principles of acoustic resonance, piezoelectric energy generation, and chemical fuel production would have been far beyond the supposed capabilities of ancient peoples. But why has this theory been suppressed? Why do authorities resist scientific investigation of the pyramid's true purpose? Perhaps because the discovery of advanced ancient technology would challenge fundamental assumptions about human development and capability. It might reveal that our ancestors possessed knowledge that could revolutionize our understanding of energy, physics, and engineering. Independent engineers and researchers who have tried to investigate the pyramid machine theory have been systematically denied access to the monument. Equipment needed for acoustic analysis, chemical testing, and electromagnetic measurement has been blocked at crucial moments. Theories that challenge the tomb interpretation are dismissed without proper scientific investigation. The suppression suggests that there may be truth to the machine theory, truth that institutions find too threatening to acknowledge. If the pyramid was indeed an ancient power plant, it would prove that human technological capability has followed a very different path than we've been told. The pyramid machine theory offers a radical reinterpretation of ancient achievements. Rather than being primitive peoples struggling with basic survival, our ancestors might have been sophisticated engineers who understood principles of energy generation that we've forgotten. The pyramid stands as a monument to lost knowledge, a reminder of human potential that we've barely begun to explore. Imagine if we could reactivate the pyramid's energy generation capabilities. What could we learn about ancient technology? What principles of physics and engineering might we rediscover? What advances in clean energy production could we achieve by understanding how our ancestors harnessed the power of the pyramid? The pyramid machine theory suggests that the answers to our current energy challenges might lie not in the future, but in the distant past. The knowledge encoded in the pyramid's construction could hold keys to sustainable energy production, advanced materials science, and revolutionary understanding of how consciousness and matter interact. But until we're allowed to investigate the pyramid's true purpose, these possibilities remain locked away, hidden behind bureaucratic suppression and academic orthodoxy. The pyramid machine waits in the desert, its secrets intact, its power dormant, ready to revolutionize human understanding if we have the courage to seek the truth. As you drift towards sleep, imagine the pyramid not as a tomb, but as a magnificent machine, its chambers resonating with harmonic frequencies, its granite walls generating electrical currents, its capstone focusing energy toward the stars. Perhaps in your dreams, you'll see the pyramid as it once was, not a monument to death, but a testament to life, energy, and the unlimited potential of human achievement. In every age, there are those who decide what knowledge the public is allowed to access, what discoveries can be shared, and what truths must remain hidden. Today, as we stand at the threshold of revolutionary discoveries about our past, we must ask, who are the modern guardians of ancient truth, and what gives them the right to decide what humanity can know about its own heritage? The institutions that control access to ancient sites wield enormous power over human knowledge. Archaeological departments, government agencies, and academic hierarchies form a complex network of gatekeepers who determine which research gets funded, which theories get published, and which discoveries see the light of day. These modern guardians protect established narratives with the same fervour that ancient priests protected religious mysteries. They control the temples of knowledge, the universities, museums, and research institutions, and they decide who gains access to the sacred sites where truth might be discovered. The pattern of suppression is systematic and deliberate. Promising discoveries are suddenly halted when they threaten established chronologies. Independent researchers are denied access to crucial sites. Alternative theories are ridiculed without proper investigation. Equipment needed for revolutionary research is blocked at crucial moments. Why such resistance to new knowledge? The Guardians offer various explanations: protecting ancient monuments from damage, maintaining scientific standards, preventing amateur interference with serious research. But these explanations ring hollow when simple, non-invasive investigations are also blocked. The real reasons for suppression run deeper. Academic careers are built on established theories. Entire departments depend on conventional chronologies. Professors have spent decades building reputations on specific interpretations of ancient history. When revolutionary discoveries threaten these foundations, the institutional response is to protect the status quo rather than pursue the truth. Government agencies add another layer of control. National pride, economic interests, and political considerations influence what discoveries are allowed to be made public. Ancient monuments are symbols of national identity, and evidence that challenges these symbols is seen as threatening to state interests. The cost of this guardianship is enormous. Potential technological advances are lost to bureaucratic suppression. Historical understanding is deliberately limited to protect comfortable narratives. Human heritage is kept hidden from the very people who created it. We are denied access to our own past, prevented from learning from our ancestors' achievements. But knowledge has a way of breaking free from its guardians. New technologies are revealing hidden chambers that can't be easily concealed. Independent researchers are finding ways to bypass traditional gatekeepers. The internet allows alternative theories to reach audiences without academic approval. The younger generation is less interested in protecting established narratives than in discovering the truth. The brave truth seekers who challenge institutional suppression are the intellectual descendants of all the independent researchers who have advanced human knowledge throughout history. Galileo challenged the Church's astronomical orthodoxy. Darwin challenged religious creation myths. These modern researchers challenge archaeological orthodoxy, applying new technologies and fresh perspectives to ancient mysteries. They risk their careers, their reputations, and their livelihoods to pursue truth wherever it leads. They represent the scientific spirit that values discovery over comfort, evidence over authority, and progress over tradition. Without their courage, human knowledge would stagnate under the weight of institutional inertia. The future of discovery may belong to these independent investigators. As technology advances and public interest in alternative theories grows, the old gatekeepers are losing their ability to control information. Satellite imagery reveals hidden structures that can't be classified. Ground-penetrating radar uncovers sealed chambers that can't be ignored. Computer analysis detects patterns that human bias has overlooked. The guardians of truth are fighting a losing battle against the tide of technological progress and public curiosity. Each new discovery makes their position more difficult to defend. Each suppressed investigation raises more questions than it answers. Each denied permit creates more suspicion about what is being hidden. But the most profound threat to the Guardian's authority is the growing recognition that ancient knowledge belongs to all humanity, not to institutions or governments that claim authority over archaeological sites. The pyramids were built by human hands, embody human achievement, and contain human knowledge. No institution has the right to prevent humanity from understanding its own heritage. The monuments themselves are beginning to speak despite the Guardian's efforts to silence them. New technologies are revealing their secrets. Independent researchers are decoding their messages. The truth about ancient capabilities is emerging from the shadows of institutional suppression. What will we discover when the Guardians finally lose control? What technological advances await us when we understand the principles behind ancient precision? What knowledge could we gain if we were allowed to explore the sealed chambers and hidden passages that honeycomb the pyramid complex? The Guardians of Truth have protected their secrets for decades, but their time is ending. The new generation of researchers is less interested in protecting comfortable narratives than in discovering uncomfortable truths. Technology is providing tools that can't be easily suppressed. Public interest in alternative theories is growing beyond institutional control. The ancient monuments are patient. They have waited thousands of years to reveal their secrets. They can wait a little longer for humanity to develop the courage to seek the truth, regardless of how it challenges established beliefs. As you contemplate the Guardians and their opposition, remember that every great advance in human knowledge has come from individuals who refuse to accept official explanations and comfortable assumptions. The truth about our past awaits the next generation of truth seekers, the brave souls who will demand access to humanity's hidden heritage. the guardians of truth, are losing their grip on the keys to ancient knowledge. The monuments are beginning to whisper their secrets. The truth is emerging from the shadows, and no amount of institutional suppression can stop it. The age of guardianship is ending. The age of discovery is beginning. The evidence we've explored tonight paints a picture far more complex and mysterious than the simple story of pharaohs and primitive tools. As we reach the end of our journey through the shadows of ancient Egypt, we find ourselves standing before questions that have haunted humanity for millennia. The Great Pyramid of Giza, that magnificent monument rising from the desert sands, continues to guard its secrets with the patience of eternity itself. Who really built the Great Pyramid? This question whispers through the corridors of time like desert wind through ancient stones. The official narrative speaks of 4th dynasty pharaohs and Bronze Age workers, yet the evidence suggests something far more extraordinary. The precision, the mathematical perfection, the astronomical alignments. These achievements point to builders whose capabilities we're only beginning to comprehend. What advanced technology did they possess? Consider the granite blocks in the king's chamber, each weighing up to 70 tons, lifted and positioned with tolerances measured in millimeters. The perfectly straight passages carved through solid bedrock. The acoustic properties that transform human voices into otherworldly resonances. These aren't the hallmarks of primitive construction, but of a sophisticated understanding of forces and principles that remain mysterious even today. What secrets lie behind sealed doors? Modern scanning technology has revealed hidden chambers, unexplored passages, and mysterious voids within the pyramid structure. Each discovery seems to deepen the mystery rather than resolve it, as if the pyramid were designed to reveal its secrets reluctantly, one tantalizing clue at a time. Behind those sealed doors may lie answers that could transform our understanding of human history itself. The mystery deepens with each discovery. Every new revelation about the Great Pyramid challenges our assumptions about ancient capabilities. The more we learn, the more questions arise, creating an endless spiral of wonder that has captivated seekers of truth for thousands of years. If the pyramid is older than claimed, human history changes. Recent geological evidence suggests weathering patterns and erosion that could only have occurred over timescales far longer than conventional dating allows. If true, this pushes the pyramid's construction back into prehistory, into an era when orthodox archaeology insists only primitive hunter-gatherers existed. Advanced ancient technology challenges modern assumptions about the progression of human civilization. We've been taught that technological advancement follows a linear path, that ancient peoples possessed only simple tools and crude methods. Yet the Great Pyramid stands as testament to capabilities that seem almost impossible for any ancient civilization to achieve. Lost civilizations could hold keys to our future. Perhaps the builders of the pyramid possessed knowledge that we've forgotten, wisdom that could help us solve modern challenges. The mathematical principles embedded in the structure, the astronomical alignments, the acoustic properties, these may be breadcrumbs left by a civilization that understood aspects of reality we're only beginning to rediscover. We may be rediscovering forgotten knowledge. Every advance in our understanding of the pyramid reveals new layers of sophistication. The builder's knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering suggests a scientific understanding that rivals our own. Perhaps we're not discovering new truths, but recovering ancient wisdom that was somehow lost to the ages. Open access to ancient sites remains crucial to uncovering the truth. Too often, archaeological sites are restricted, limiting independent research and investigation. The Great Pyramid belongs to all humanity, and its secrets should be explored by researchers from every discipline, free from institutional bias or political interference. Unbiased scientific investigation is essential if we are to understand the pyramid's true origins. We need researchers willing to follow the evidence wherever it leads, even if it challenges established timelines or conventional wisdom. The truth about the pyramid may be more extraordinary than we've been taught to believe. Public right to know historical truth drives the need for transparency. These discoveries affect our understanding of human origins, our capabilities, our place in the cosmos. The implications are too significant to remain hidden in academic journals or restricted databases. The secrets belong to all humanity, and we all deserve access to the evidence. Each listener must decide what to believe. The evidence I've presented tonight speaks for itself, but the interpretation remains yours. Look at the facts, consider the implications, and draw your own conclusions about what the Great Pyramid represents. Evidence speaks for itself. The precision of the construction, the mathematical perfection, the astronomical alignments. These aren't matters of opinion or belief. They're measurable, verifiable facts that challenge our assumptions about ancient capabilities. Truth is more extraordinary than fiction. The real story of the Great Pyramid may be stranger and more wonderful than any theory we've yet imagined. Sometimes reality surpasses even our wildest speculations about what ancient peoples could achieve. The mystery continues to unfold. New discoveries are made regularly, each one adding another piece to an increasingly complex puzzle. The pyramid hasn't revealed all its secrets yet, and perhaps it never will completely. The pyramid stands as an eternal question mark against the desert sky. For over 4,000 years, it has watched civilizations rise and fall, witnessed the birth and death of languages, observed the evolution of human consciousness itself. Through it all, it has maintained its enigmatic silence, offering clues but never complete answers. Guardian of ancient secrets, the Great Pyramid holds knowledge that could transform our understanding of human potential. Its builders, whoever they were, encoded wisdom in stone that continues to challenge and inspire us. The pyramid stands as proof that our ancestors achieved things we're still struggling to understand. Waiting for humanity to rediscover the truth, the pyramid maintains its patient vigil. Perhaps we're not yet ready for all its secrets. Perhaps we need to evolve further to expand our understanding before we can fully comprehend what the ancient builders accomplished. Some mysteries are worth losing sleep over. The Great Pyramid is one of them. Its secrets have captivated humanity for millennia, and they continue to inspire wonder in all who encounter them. As you drift off to sleep tonight, picture the Great Pyramid standing in the desert darkness, keeping its secrets. Imagine the moonlight casting shadows across its ancient stones, the way it has for thousands of years. See it as the eternal guardian of mysteries that may never be fully solved. Perhaps in your dreams, you'll find the hidden doors opening. Maybe you'll walk through passages that no living person has entered, discover chambers that hold the answers to questions that have puzzled humanity for millennia. In the realm of dreams, all possibilities remain open. Perhaps in sleep, freed from the constraints of conventional thinking, you'll glimpse the truth that has eluded us for so long. The builders may reveal themselves to you in visions that transcend the boundaries of time and space. And maybe, just maybe, you'll discover who really built humanity's greatest wonder. Sweet dreams, fellow guardians of human wisdom.